Hello, my little squirrels. I would like to inform you that what you are about to listen to are our views and comments from the host. Guests only reflect their own view and not the community as a whole. Not all those squirrels out there, I mean. I hope you enjoy the podcast and Eddie play that banter section. Whoop whoop!
How's your leg? How's your foot?
Oh, it's still weird, man. It's not right. It's not right.
Is one foot facing one way, the foot's the other way?
So, hang on, I'm going to feel it. Okay, the swelling has gone down, because it was a bit swollen when I saw you still.
Yeah.
The swelling has definitely gone down, but it's only gone down in the last week.
To be fair, it was really weird when you did come up to me when we met up a couple of weeks ago and you went, "Does my ankle look fat?" And I'm like, "Whoa."
Is one ankle bigger than the other? Come on, tell me. But no, it's literally only in the last half a week, I would say, that the swelling's actually gone down. And it still looks like it's got a little bit of bruising.
Okay.
And it still hurts when I walk.
Mm.
So that's great.
That's good.
I'm having a great time.
Yeah.
Having an absolutely fantastic time. Yeah.
Hello, everybody. This is the Ed Talks About podcast, your UK #1 cosplay podcast, I like to think, unofficially. But it's also your weekly podcast talking about cosplay, Comic-Con, and everything else. I'm your host, Eddie. And this week we are talking about, is Comic-Con safe? Is it? Are they safe? I don't know why I did that high-pitched voice thing, but I just thought it went with it. Anyway, joining us on the podcast is Lele of Lele Cosplay. Welcome to you.
Hello.
Bonjour. Buongiorno. Buongiorno. Buongiorno.
Bonjour, mate, innit?
I was about to say, when I said, welcome to you, I was literally just gyrating with my hands like someone could see me. And yeah, no one could see me. And if you were listening to last week's podcast, I said I was half naked because I was hot. I'm also now half naked because I'm hot. Oh, Leila, you didn't know about that, did you?
No, I didn't. But it's nice to know.
I'm a sharing guy. I like to let people know what my situation is. It's just bloody hot today, all right?
It is. It's really hot.
To be fair game as well, I've literally just walked into my home about, what's the time now? About half an hour ago, and I had to unpack and things like that. And unfortunately now my flat smells of garlic. Look, I don't want to give too much away about my private life, nor do I eat a lot of garlic. But I just visited my parents, and my parents said, "Oh, have some garlic." I went, "I'm travelling on the train." Oh, triple bag. Went, "Oh, okay, then triple bag. That should be all right. I should be fine on the train." Fuck me, no. Jesus Christ. I swear there were people just edging further and further away from me. I'm like going, cheers.
So, is it just that, do you smell like garlic, or is it
the bag.
Okay.
But when I opened, so it was a bag of crushed garlic.
Crushed. Ooh.
Yeah. So when
that'll do it.
When I've just opened it and just put some oil in it so it just preserves a little bit better, and I put it into a jar. Humdinger. That was humdinger. So yeah, I feel like I prevented vampires tonight. So and half across of London as well. So yeah,
I was going to say and anyone wanting to sit near you.
Yeah. Unfortunately, I had my sister and my nephew near me, so they couldn't really run away from me. But everyone else that was fair game, they could run away or not. Anyway, what do I usually do at this point, Leila? I usually ask, how are you? How's the last 7 days for you?
All right. I yesterday gave my dog a bath. That was a whole thing.
That sounded like that's the thing you did only once a year.
Oh, he hates it. He hates it. So I'm quite lucky because he's a very short-haired dog.
Mm.
So he doesn't get like he's very silky, and just if he does ever get dirty, it just kind of rolls off him.
Mm.
So he doesn't need to be bathed that much. But he was crusty. He was crusty, man. He needed a bath. He was crusty. And it was a whole he hates it. The minute you try and get him in the bathroom, he knows exactly what's going on straight away and runs away. Ran into the bedroom to get him out the bedroom and then shut the door so he couldn't go back in. Ran into the living room, get him out, shut the door. Basically shut all the doors so that he has nowhere to go. Then he ran downstairs. So then I had to get him up the stairs and then block the stairs.
Mm-hmm.
And eventually just had to, like, pick him. Like, he just ran into, like, a corner. And was like, ah! And I just had to pick him up. And he was mad. He was mad about it. Once you get him in the bath, he doesn't protest. He doesn't try and get out. He's so scared that he just stands there and shakes and shivers.
Are you sure this is not abuse for him?
I
for
mean,
your
it
dog?
feels like it, to be honest, when you're doing it. Like, the amount of guilt that you have when it's like, he's looking at me right now.
What's your dog's
with
name?
A judge, Arnold.
Arnold, blink twice if you need help. Blink twice if you need help. I mean, I can't help you, but I'm just saying blink twice if you need help.
And then, when he went to bed, fireworks started going off.
What?
Hates fireworks.
Why is he setting off fireworks when you're going to bed? That's a really stupid thing a dog would do. I hate fireworks, I'm going to set them off. Oh my god, I hate them! Sorry, I always do that. When, like, it's the stupid joke I do is basically when people say, "Oh, I'm going for a blood test." Oh, have you got blood? Pass tested.
Have I ever told you that I get, like, really freaked out by blood tests?
No.
So it's not when I always say to people. So I get really freaked out. Like, I will get like dizzy and like woozy because I get so freaked out, and they have to get me to lie down and stuff because I'll get all lightheaded. And people are like, "But you've got loads of tattoos. Like, how are you scared of it?" And I'm like, "I'm not scared of the needle. It's not the needle. Like, I'm not scared of needles at all.
Is it the blood?
It's and it's not blood. I can see blood and it doesn't freak me out. It's the fact that they're taking my blood and that's my blood and I need it.
You're taking my soul. I know I don't have much of it, but you're taking my soul. Give it back.
It's just this weird, like, that's my blood and I need that.
Even though it replenishes itself like every 4 weeks.
Yeah, but that's a long time, man. 4 weeks.
I think it's. Hang on. How long does? Hang on. Let me Google it. How long does blood last in the body? Sorry, guys. You carry.
I just need to find this out. Hang on.
Blood cells live for about 120 days in circulation.
That's quite a long time.
Yeah. 6 months.
But I'm like, I need that. And then I'm the same. I'm the same with vaccines, but instead it's you're putting something into me, and I don't know what it's going to do.
Look. If we've learned anything from the vaccine, all it is just Microsoft trying to bug you so they know where you are.
Yeah.
It's not like you do that naturally with the mobile phone you have, going onto Facebook, Twitter, Instagram, where you do, here's my location, bam. How do these people know where I am? Jeez, I wonder why. I wonder how they find out.
So here's the thing, I'll get any vaccines I need, I'll get them. I got the COVID jab, I got the booster. I'll do it, I'll get it, but I'll be freaked out about it and they'll have to calm me down.
Would it? Oh no, to be fair, I will say this, anytime I had the vaccine, or any time an injection, I can't look at it. I can't see it go into. I don't mind feeling it per se, but I can't look at it. I do have I wouldn't say a phobia of it because I don't mind the needle, but I wouldn't want to see it go into me.
Yeah.
And at one point, at one of the vaccines jab going in, I did want to see it. Not saying going in, but once it's in, I want to look. But I want to turn my head. No, can't do it.
So the first one.
Yeah.
I got there, gave my name and stuff, and I was waiting in a queue, and I just immediately was like, so it's happening, anxiety, it's happening. And the guy who was taking names at the queue, he came over and he was just like, "You all right?" And I was like, yeah. And I was like, yeah, I just I'm not very good with injections and stuff. And he took one look at me and he was like, "Right, I'm putting you at the front of the queue. I'm getting you a chair. You're going to sit down." And I was like, "You can tell, can't you?" And he was like, "Yeah." Like, I think the colour must have just drained my face or something. And he just took one look at me and was like,
and to be fair,
right, is she?
And to be fair, and I hope you don't mind me saying this, you're fairly pasty white anyway. So
yeah.
yes, so that must have been a different shade of white that you were portraying.
Yeah, I can go even paler. It's possible.
Jeez. Anyway, we're going a little off topic there. Yes, and we've already thought about. By the way, we have thought about a podcast extra, which has nothing to do with this topic, but it's something that I want to like bring up and blame her for. But we'll get to that later. We'll get to that later. So I had this idea again. I like to explain my ideas how these podcasts come about. And I can't remember if I'm going to be calling this is cosplay Comic Con save or our Comic Con save. I can't remember what the grammar I'm going to use. So I'll cross that bridge when it gets released on Wednesday. Okay. But basically, it was like I feel safe going to a Comic Con, but I hate to say it, I'm a male photographer.
Yeah.
But I don't know if it's safe for anyone else.
Yeah.
And I keep hearing some odd stories here and there, and this is like. And I genuinely did not come up with this idea after the event that I heard from San Diego Comic-Con. If you haven't heard about it, I'll put a link in the podcast description so that you can watch it later on or during whatever. But we'll take it step by step. But Lele, I just want to ask, like, let's start with the basics. How often, how long have you been going to like Comic-Con for?
First one I went to was 7 years ago,
Mm-hmm.
I think.
Yeah.
I would say about 7 years ago.
Mm.
Yeah, so 7 years. And I've been to most MCM Londons
Mm-hmm.
in that time. Couple of MCM Birminghams. I've been to Liverpool Con a couple of times, and I have been to cons in America as well. So I've been to a few different ones.
Oh, so okay, so we can definitely wind up the questions a little bit.
Mm.
Yeah, and I know you've been to Liverpool Comic Con, and I know you've not been to all the MCM Londons because you missed one when I was there.
I know. So I've missed the last. It's really annoying. I've missed the last 2 MCMs, and I hate myself.
Yeah, but you say there's a good reason for the last one.
Yeah.
I still
So
don't.
last
I
one
don't
was
buy
Liverpool.
it. Yeah, I don't buy it, but you carry on.
So basically, I found out that all of the hobbits from the Lord of the Rings were going to be at Liverpool together,
Hmm.
and I am a massive Lord of the Rings nerd. Like it's my jam.
I don't know why. I thought you were going to say I'm a massive dickhead.
Also that I am also a massive dickhead. But no, like I've been obsessed with Lord of the Rings since I was like 11 years. Like I read the books before the films came out.
Yeah.
Because I'm old.
I'm old. 84 years ago, I was on a boat.
And I was like, I've never seen them all at the same one in England before. Because of obviously 2 of them are American. And it just doesn't really happen. And I was like, it might never happen again. I might never get a chance to do that again. So it, like, for me, it felt like a once in a lifetime chance to meet them all. And get, like, I got all of them to, like, sign my copy of the books and stuff, you know.
Aww.
I know, I paid so much money, man. But because I paid so much money, and they were in the same month, Liverpool was at the start of May, and MCM was at the end of May. And I was like, there's no way that I can also afford to do MCM.
No, which is
not,
very understandable. Yeah. Very understandable. Although no, that's good. No, that's good. So we get an idea that you've been around the block. You've done a lot of cons, both in the UK and the States side, and things like that. I don't want to jump to the question so quickly. I want to like build up the narrative, keep the listeners on, on tenterhooks type of thing. But I mean, you usually do the Comic Con thing, like going to see the store, buy some merch. You then eventually went, oh, I'm going to cosplay this. That's you do that, don't you?
Yeah. So I mean, when I first started, I cosplayed. I went because I wanted to cosplay, and I'd never cosplayed before, and I just wanted to dive straight in. But yeah, I do like obviously when I'm there, I want to look around all the stalls and everything. So I do a real bit of a mix. Like I said, I want to make sure that I see all the stalls and get a bit of merch and stuff like that. I also am cosplaying and taking pictures and things like that, and meeting up with people who take pictures like you.
Me?
Yeah.
I'm a photographer. Shit.
Yeah.
I better update my Comic-Con CV then. Amy is a Comic-Con cosplay photographer.
So, I mean, when I went to Liverpool, the first day I went in cosplay, I did 2 days. First day I went in cosplay, and second day I couldn't be bothered to cosplay, so I just went in normal clothes and looked around the stalls and stuff.
Yeah.
Usually I normally do cosplay every day, and go around the stalls in cosplay, but on the odd occasion I might decide,
Yeah, no, that's good. No, that's fine. How important it is to have that, in a sense, that Comic-Con lifestyle of like seeing the stalls, dressing up, and then you mentioned about getting the photos, and like the side question to that is, I mean, is the photo bit the most important part for you?
For me, like, the guests aren't. I actually don't usually do guests and stuff. It is normally like the going around the merch and the cosplay aspect of it. And I love having Comic Cons because if it is somewhere where you can go that is just
Mm.
nerd culture. It's
Oh yeah.
somewhere where you can go that is full of other people like you that are into the same things as you, and they're all dressed up as well and stuff. And so, normally if you went down a Tesco to do your food shopping cosplay, it's a bit weird, isn't it?
I dress up as an Asian photographer every day to the
Every
shop,
single day,
every day to the
every
shops,
day.
and no one bats an eyelid. So look,
It is dedication to your Asian cosplay.
that is. You have no idea how much I yell at myself up each day. Dye my hair black. Get the sun. No, best off. Can you imagine people find out what Eddie's white?
You're actually as pale as me.
Who do you think sat next to you when you were getting your vaccine?
But no, like, it's really, I love having somewhere where you can do all that. And when I'm in cosplay as well, like, I want to get pictures in it,
Yeah.
Like, if I've put all that effort in and all that money,
Yeah.
cosplay's expensive, man. Like, it costs a lot of money and it's a lot of effort. And whether, obviously some people make their own and they might spend months making their own. And even if you don't do that and you buy it, well, that's then expensive and stuff, and so you've
Oh
paid a
yeah.
lot of money. And even if you buy it, there's still, like, I tend to buy mine, but I still like style my wigs and stuff like that. So there is still time and things put into stuff, and then you spend hours in the morning getting ready. So if you've done all that, you want to have some good pictures in it. Like, it is important that you want to get some, like, decent photos in it as well, because if you've put so much work into it. So I always want to make sure that I have time to do both, really. Like, I don't want to miss out on the stalls and things like that.
Yeah.
But I also don't want to end up spending all my time looking around the stalls and then finishing in a con and going, oh, I didn't get any pictures of my cosplay because of, well, it just like I want to have that.
No, I understand where you're coming from and things like that. And I think the point about the photo part is probably the next question I'm about to ask, is that obviously if you're dressed up in costume, I'm assuming, unless people recognize you, and we'll talk about the recognition bit later on. But if people see you in cosplay, they'll go, "Oh, can I get a picture with you?" And we'll talk from a general point of view first before we'll talk about the photographers. But I mean, when obviously a general public member go, "Oh, can I get a photo with you?" Are you like, "Yeah, of course"? But do you then go, "Oh"? Do you give out like stipulations like, please above the waist, around my shoulders, okay, or please can just stand next to? Do you do any of that, or do you think it's assumed it's okay? You trust the general public. Do you get what I'm saying?
Yeah, it's really hard. It sounds. Well, I was about to say it sounds stupid because my natural instinct is to trust. Which sounds stupid, but my natural instinct is like I said, I'm kind of like, everybody there is there because they're all a bunch of nerds, and they, they probably, you assume that they know the character you're cosplaying as, they're a fan of it, and they just think your cosplay's cool and want to get a picture with it. And I go up to other cosplayers when I'm in cosplay, and it might be a completely irrelevant cosplay to what I'm doing, but I just see somebody and I go, oh, that cosplay's so cool, and I might run over and go, hey, can I grab a picture with you? Because I just think their cosplay is awesome, you know. So I do it as well to other people, and so I assume that they're doing the same thing that I do. You know, they just have looked and gone, oh, this is really cool. But obviously at the same time, I mean, I've had it before where and typically it was when I was on my own walking around the con, I'd split off from the other people I was with, because of it was the last day, it was Sunday, there was about an hour left, and I hadn't really had a chance to look at hardly any of the stalls, and I looked at the time and I went, crap, I want to look around the stalls. So I was like, right, guys, I'm going in because I haven't really had a look around yet. And I just sort of left everybody else to do like a crazy blitz around the last hour. And as I was going around, two guys came over, and one of them was like, oh, can I get a picture with you? And it was when I was doing Harley Quinn. And I was like, yeah, of course you can, you know. And I don't actually have a problem, you know, if people want to put their, you know, I know with pictures it's a natural thing to kind of like put your arm around in pictures. It's kind of like, I think that's quite a natural thing. And, you know, it happens with like the celebrity guest ones as well. You know, they sort of, you know, they put your arm around you and you put your arm around them. And I'm like, that's fine. And so, you know, put arms around, but then the guy's hand goes straight to my bum.
Oof.
And as soon as I felt it, I just kind of like I stood there, I was smiling for the picture, but I was just kind of froze, like, like, and there wasn't anybody. I wasn't with any of my friends. I wasn't with anybody, and it's one of those weird situations where, like, you know me, I can be, you know, I can be quite an aggressive person when I want to be.
Oh yeah, 100%.
However, I have learned from experience that in that kind of situation, like, obviously, you know, you go into fight or flight,
Yeah.
but you also go into like there's fight and flight, but then there's also just like freeze, and that's what I like. Even though I'm quite a confident person,
Yeah.
and can be quite, you know, can be aggressive when I need to be, in that particular kind of situation, I go into freeze mode. I go into like play dead. I won't do anything. I won't say anything because of, I think my like gut instinct is, don't cause a scene. Don't, you know, you like, don't make this worse kind of
Yeah.
thing. So I didn't do anything and I didn't say anything,
Yeah.
and they then just left and walked off, and I was just stood there on my own like, what just happened?
Yeah. And apologies for my gender for doing that. I feel like I have to do that every so often just to apologize. But sorry to ask this question so early on. I mean, I'm not going to victim blame anything. Fuck that. You know, they did wrong. But I was going to say, now that you've gone through that, do you think now what you know, you'd treat that situation differently? You know what to do next time?
It's one of those things. I like to think, you know, obviously I feel like the best thing you can do is just to immediately say, you know, it is, you know, excuse me, you know, can you not put your hand there? Or even just, you know, sorry, if you're going to do that, then I'm not taking a picture.
Okay.
And go and immediately find like a security person and tell them.
Yeah.
But
It's,
with things like that, it's easier said than done.
I was going to say, because I think
You know?
the worry is that it's your word against their word, and
Yeah.
nothing could be done about it unless there's someone caught it on camera type of thing.
Yeah.
Which,
I mean, I
is
think
still it's a shitty thing to go through. But I think from a personal point of view, I would hope you would still mention it. But I understand from your point of view
yeah.
that you were frozen in shock more than anything else.
Yeah. And I think I'd try and remember that, because obviously, like I said, I go into freeze mode in a situation like that because of, like I said, you get that, I don't want to make this situation worse. So you worry that if you kick off and say something, or what if they then get aggressive back, you know?
And like you said, you were on your own at the time. Probably
Yeah.
wasn't security nearby. The end of the day as well.
But there were people, you know, it's in the middle of the halls with the stalls, this happened. So there was plenty of people round. So realistically, logic brain says, well, they're unlikely to get aggressive or something because there is a ton of people around. It's just not people I know. But there are people around. They're not going to, you know, turn around or start giving you aggravation or do anything,
Yeah.
you know, if you know, and if even if you was to loudly sort of say, "Excuse me," you know,
Yeah.
actually all the you know, the stall holders and stuff that are around are all going to turn and look, and they're probably going to be like, "Oh shit,"
Yeah.
kind of thing.
Yeah,
But
absolutely. Yeah.
it's, you know, when it comes to, you know, like SA, as it's always abbreviated
Yeah.
as,
Yeah. Yeah.
you know, I always find that it's always easy to look at something that's happened to somebody and go, oh, well, they should have done this or they should have done that. But until you're in the situation, you never know how your body is just going to like instinctively respond.
Yeah, exactly, 100%. And I don't mean to cut you off and things like that.
No.
Like I said, it's easy to say than do until it happens to you, you know. And like old Eddie would have said, "Oh, you know, you're a very how do I put it politely? Um, you have some assets,
Mm-hmm.
and don't make this difficult for me, okay?" And you know, they said, "Oh, you know, maybe you were like." You know, it could have, you know, maybe some men or people, I should say men, people might have seen that as an invitation, but no, fuck that. That's not an invitation to do anything
No.
like that. There's no excuse for SAing anyone in that particular situation, regardless if you think, oh, they've got big assets, you know, like, no, that's not an invitation for anything. That's not something that they can just screw on a smaller
Yeah.
or bigger set. That's
And
not,
I think this is an issue, obviously, with cosplay.
mm,
Some cosplays are, you know, more revealing, and
mm,
some cosplays are very much seen as like sexy cosplay. Certain characters are seen as sexy
yeah,
characters that get kind of, you know, idealized more, and people
mm,
fantasize about more and things.
yeah, yeah,
And when people see a cosplayer dressed up as one of those characters and dressed up in a, you know, costume that's seen as more sexy,
yeah.
you get some people who then seem to feel like it's an invitation to behave inappropriately,
Yeah, and
and it's not. They're
look,
just
yeah,
dressing up as a character they like, you
absolutely.
know.
And this is why I keep saying sometimes, don't treat the person that you're photographing as the character. Treat them as the person.
Yeah,
Look, don't get me wrong. I'm still got a Neanderthal brain and go, God, she looks good looking. Oh my God, she is sexy. But that's where my thought stops.
yeah,
It doesn't go, need to get my hands on her. Yeah. It's this is why I don't quite understand why that thought from they look good looking, they are sexy and all that, then leaps to I'm gonna grab them. It's like, whoa, I do not understand. Um I'll probably now let's jump to this question now. It's like I know it's about halfway through the podcast, but let's ask this question straight away. Do you feel safe then? Now, especially with that incident that just happened to you, I'm assuming a few years ago, not
yeah.
recently. Do you feel safe at a Comic Con then?
So I I would say yes. Because like I said, I mean, for one thing, they're they're very busy events. Like I said, there's always other people around. You know, you're never really in a situation where, you know, you're not going to be in a situation where it's just you and some guy in a dark, lonely corridor or
Hmm.
something. You know, it's a huge event with tons of people. So, you know, realistically, if something does happen, even if even if you did go into like freeze mode, like there's people around that you could then go up to if you need to, and it, there is security, and I think the events are trying to make it more aware, you know, make these kinds of issues more aware to the staff and security.
Hmm.
And, you know, they often are having like features on their site or their socials, or if they've got an app or something for the event about, like, you know, if somebody harasses you, you know,
Hmm.
do this kind, you know, we won't tolerate it, come speak to, you know, but, you know, they're often having that kind of thing there. Sometimes there's even signs up around saying, you know, like, cosplay is not consent if somebody harasses you,
Yeah.
blah blah, you know, which is good. At the same time, I have also seen security guards harassing cosplayers
In
in the
what sense do
past.
you mean by harassing?
So security guards making inappropriate comments to cosplayers about their outfits and about how they look, which has made the people feel very uncomfortable.
Because they feel like that, the people that's meant to look after them make them secure and safe.
Yeah,
Feel like they can't be counted upon.
you're going through, obviously, MCM, if anyone that's been to MCM knows that when you go in, there's like the metal detectors and the bag search bit and everything when you get in, and sometimes they've got like sometimes they might have a handheld metal detector or something and things like that. And when going in with somebody, the security guard was making creepy comments to them. Just when very first going into the event. And that immediately makes you feel like, well, if something does happen, if I have a situation like this with somebody here, how seriously is this person going to take it?
No, absolutely, yeah.
Because they're being a creep themselves.
Yeah, and you do need professional people like security to be professional and not have those comments said out loud, and make them feel safe. Because you're right. If you can't trust the people that make those comments who are in security, you're going to be less likely to report it. I mean, a couple of things. I don't know about other events, but MCM definitely itself have an app where you can report any instance to them. How seriously they look at it or not, time will tell. But I'm sure other events do have security and things like that. And I mean, I know you just made a comment that some security make creepy comments. Not all of them do. So do still trust them until inform them of any instance that you feel like. If you don't have to tell one, you can tell a lot of them. So that at least you feel like the message got through and all that. And secondly, can I just check no one's stealing your car? We could just hear a car being the alarm went off in the back.
I live on a corner like where there's like a co-op and a Tesco, and there's always people and always cars.
Yeah,
Go by and parking, and it gets loud out there.
No, that's fine. Just want to make sure that your car wasn't being. I can hear in the background. I'm sure my listeners can hear it as well.
Yeah, no, there's always like a car alarm or people talking or people shouting or a delivery truck or like something going on outside here. Yeah.
No, that's fine. It's absolutely. I want to bring in. I mean, it's good that you, like you said, it's like, especially the incident you just described earlier. It hasn't stopped you from going to Comic-Con, and you've kind of. I hate to say in this frame sounding like you're the victim, but you've learned from that lesson. It's not something you've learned, but you've modified how you go about these events now. I mean, I know I usually do advice and tips at the end, but I mean, are you now always conscious about going as a group now? You won't be alone when you do these things.
I mean, when I went to Liverpool, I went on my own, and that was only this year.
Yeah.
So I'm still happy to go on my own, but I definitely, if I'm on my own, I'm a lot more wary.
Yeah.
And it sounds ridiculous, but also, so like I went to Liverpool, but I dressed, because obviously it was Lord of the Rings that I was going for. I cosplayed as Frodo, naturally. I'm little, works.
Hang on, have you not done, is it Galadriel?
Yeah, I don't have my Galadriel anymore.
Oh!
Yeah.
Carry on then. I shall step down from my storybox. You carry on.
I did have Galadriel, don't have any more. Decided I wanted to do Frodo. And, Frodo, not the sexiest cosplay.
Whoa, you can't say that. You cannot say that for everyone on this planet. There's got to be one person who's going, Frodo.
I mean, to be fair,
Mr. Baggins, I will bag your end. Sorry,
look,
carry on.
When I was 13, I had a lot of pictures of Frodo on my bedroom wall. I was a little bit obsessed with Elijah Wood, and I kind of did love Frodo, and I would have banged Frodo, but that's not the point. So, generally speaking, Frodo is not seen as a sexy cosplay, and it's not revealing in any, I was doing like a lady Frodo, but I had, a long skirt on, and I've got a big massive cloak on and everything. Like, it's not a revealing sexy character, sexy cosplay, which, if you're going to a con on your own, it does make you feel that little bit more safe, because of you feel like you are less likely to get people being creepy or anything, because of it just feels less likely. If I was going to a con completely by myself,
Yeah.
if I was going to pick a character that's seen as more sexy, or an outfit that is seen as more like revealing and things, and one where people might be a little bit more like, ooh, if I was completely by myself, I'm not sure how comfortable I would actually feel doing that.
Yeah.
But then again, I've been at events with other people and broken off from people and gone around on my own in outfits that are sort of, seen as characters that are more sexy and stuff. So it's a tough one. I think it can depend on the event as well. To be like, so one thing I will say as well. I feel like when I went to when I've been to like Holiday Matsuri in Florida,
Yeah.
in America, a lot of people there are cosplaying more like revealing cosplays. And I think that's also partly because like they had a big swimming pool there on site where because of it's held at a massive like Marriott hotel.
Yeah.
And there is there's a swimming pool there, so everybody in like a big huge outdoor one, and everybody's taking pictures at the pool and stuff like that as well. And so a lot of people are doing like pool cosplays, and obviously it's warmer weather and stuff, and there's a lot more revealing cosplays and sexier cosplays. And so if you're in a cosplay like that, you feel a little bit more comfortable because there's a lot more other people that are doing that.
Yeah.
And it's kind of, I think it's almost kind of seen there as like more accepted. And
Yeah.
you feel a little bit more confident and a little bit more at ease walking around in an outfit that's more revealing, or a character that's more of a sexy character if you're by yourself.
Oh, absolutely.
Whereas,
Yeah.
at some other conventions, you might not feel the same way. Does that make sense?
Absolutely. And I also want to like put it out there just now. So thought just popped into my head. I'm going to put it out there that this is a blanket thing. It's not just sexy and revealing cosplays that get SA'd.
Oh, 100%.
It could be any cosplay, but it's again whatever the person who thinks whatever. Like I said, if you are into Frodo, you will you'll go for it if you really have the urge to. And which I'm not saying you should. I'm just saying, fuck. I feel like I'm now going to get every Frodo.
No, I mean, like my personal experience is that when you are wearing something that is more revealing or seen as more sexy, it's more likely.
Yeah, it's more likely, but not.
Yeah.
It's not
But doesn't mean that
exclusively.
it doesn't happen. It doesn't mean that it doesn't happen.
100%.
And it doesn't mean that it doesn't happen to guys either.
Oh no, 100%.
100% it happens to guys too.
So someone I know, a friend of mine. I think he goes by Min. I think it's like I can't remember. It's like Sharon or something. I can't remember his cosplay name. But basically, he dresses up a lot of the Dragon Ball Z characters, and I think one of them was Goku, and he did like the ripped shirt, the blonde hair, and it's like fire in the end, all that. Obviously, he had the ripped shirt version of it where his abs were showing, and like all the women were like just going, "Oh my god, let's touch this," without any asking, without consent. The girlfriend, the partner, was there, and she kind of had to let it happen because partly I can see why they probably went, it is harmless, but why is there such a disparity about if men do it? Yeah,
why is that harmless? But if it was the other way round, it wouldn't be harmless.
Exactly.
So it's not harmless really. Like if he felt uncomfortable and didn't want that, it's not harmless. It's only harmless if the person on the receiving end of it is fine with it.
Yeah, but I think he was fine by it, but at the same token, I don't think that should be the reason it should happen. So so that's a really good point you make. Is it just the Holiday Matsuri that you've been to in America, or
I've done Holiday Matsuri twice and Anime Expo in LA.
Excellent. So I was going to ask, do you feel like internationally going abroad, do you feel still safer, or is it different culture? Do you find it going to a different country?
Yeah, so definitely, I felt at both conventions, it was a really nice atmosphere, and you did feel really safe. I mean, Anime Expo is like you think MCM is crowded sometimes. Jesus Christ! Like I knew that it was a big convention,
Yeah.
and I was just expecting something like MCM, and then got there and was like, oh, this is like MCM on like steroids. Like,
Other drugs are available.
like it's MCM on crack, man.
Yeah,
Like, it's really busy,
yeah.
and definitely, it can be, if you're somebody that struggles with crowds and things, like it'd be very overwhelming. However, once you are actually in there and everything, it's a really nice everyone was like, anyone that did ask for pictures was like really, really respectful and really nice, and it did just have a very like good atmosphere. But that, again, that was just my experience. That
Mm.
doesn't mean to say that it doesn't happen, like that things haven't happened to other people,
Mm.
and that other people haven't, been to those events and experienced something different.
Mm.
You know, um,
No.
because of, I mean, generally speaking, the people that do these things are a minority.
Mm. And
There,
yeah.
so it's not going to happen to everybody,
Mm.
but I'm sure it probably has happened to people at those events as well. You
Yeah.
know,
Absolutely. Yeah, and like I said, being essayed is not a UK thing. It's not a US thing. It's a worldwide thing. I don't know. Again, I don't know, understand what this Neanderthal thinking comes from, but and I will say that because I think I feel like you said, majority of people know how to behave themselves and control themselves. It's just like it's a very small minority who still think it is a a right to do so, and I put it in that sense because it does feel like it's such a stupid thing for people to think like this.
yeah.
Um, I want to move it away from the general public to us photographers.
Hmm.
Does the mindset changes a bit when you're dealing with photographers? Because I was saying this on a different podcast with Kevin Pack, we were talking about like the second volume about taking take like upping your photography game type of thing.
Mm.
He has a policy of never touching the model, and I went, "Oh,
Okay.
that's interesting." I will ask for permission, or if I feel like I already have the rapport with someone, like so, me and you.
Yeah.
If I felt there's an arm out of place or a shoulder needs to drop a little bit, and you're not getting the point,
Yeah.
I
Or
will.
there's like a weird bit of hair
Yeah,
that's sitting weirdly
yeah.
or something.
Depending on the mood and how or where I am and how comfortable I am with you. Even if we're quite comfortable, I will say, "Oh, can I just move this hair out the way? Can I touch your shoulder to move you to the position I want?" Kevin will say no, he wouldn't do that, but I would. But I do try as best as possible to mirror. So I say, look at me, I'm going to mirror you. Just drop the shoulder. I'm actually doing it like you're in front of me. Drop the shoulder, flick the hair up a little bit, type of thing.
Yeah.
How are you with like, and as I said, does the mindset change a little bit that you expect or don't mind? I shouldn't say expect, but do you know what I mean? But do you expect or mind photographers touching you to put you into the position that you need to be in?
So, if, like I said, someone that I know, someone that I've, like I said, like someone like you,
Hmm.
doesn't bother me at all, because if I, we've worked together so many times.
Yes, unfortunately,
Um,
yes.
I know, sorry. That, like, I know you,
Yeah,
and like you said, I mean, you always ask first, and I know that you're someone that I can trust,
yeah.
and I know that you're not a creepy weirdo.
Mm,
So, if you was to be like, hang on, there's like a bit of like hair there that's getting in the way, can I just move it?
yeah,
Or whatever. Or, there was a bit on the cosplay that had like folded in a weird way or done
yeah.
something weird, and you were like, hang on, can I just fix that?
Mm,
You know, I'm like, yeah, go for it, like, do it.
mm,
Especially sometimes, like, as well, like sometimes you might be posing in like an awkward position, and sometimes it might be easier if somebody else, can actually like move you slightly or do whatever
yeah,
needs to be done. Um, if it's someone that I've never worked with at all before, I've never met them before,
yeah.
I think it would depend on what it was that they would, like I said, if there was a bit of hair going across your face that you hadn't
Mm,
noticed, and they were like, "Can I just move that out the way?" Or something.
mm,
Um, then, you know, it's one of those things where it's like, is it something that the person could easily fix themselves?
Yeah.
Um,
Yeah.
and you
Yeah.
know, do you really need, like, if they don't know you, do you actually really need to touch this person to do it? Can you, you know, is it not something they could easily just fix themselves?
Yeah, absolutely. I think from a photographer's point of view, at least from my point of view, it's more about if you're in a position that I feel like if you don't move, that's great, but there's hair out of place. It's easier or less inconvenience that if I move the hair rather than you lose
Yeah.
your position. But like you said, sometimes I probably should say to myself, maybe I shouldn't trade off that sense of security for themselves, and they should move it themselves and then
Yeah.
get back in that
I
position
said
as possible,
something
best possible.
like a hair. I don't think that would, you know, that would be like if I'm in a really good pose and
Yeah.
then they've noticed a hair and gone, sorry, can I just move that hair?
Mm.
And they don't want me to move the pose. I'm like, I get that, and that's fine. But sometimes if they're kind of a bit like, if they're wanting to actually move your body
Yeah.
in ways, and they're actually like touching your arm or things like that, it's like, well, if you don't know the person,
Mm.
that can feel a little bit like, I'd rather you not touch me.
Yeah.
You know, like, if you want me to move my arm, just tell me, like,
Mm.
how you want me to move it. But
Yeah.
again, it's if I don't know, like, if I was in a pose and you looked and you were like, that's great, but I think it would just look a little bit better if the
Yeah.
arm was slightly there, or if the hand was slightly there. And if you came over and was like, hang on, can I just move your arm a little bit? Because if you want to put it in the place that you know you think it's going to look best,
Mm.
you know, I trust you. So I'll be like, yeah, go for it.
Yeah.
But if you don't have that rapport with somebody already, then I would probably rather, you know, somebody not touch me
No,
if they don't have to. Does that make sense?
absolutely 100%. And I would hope that photographers listen to this, or other photographers who already know this will not take offense if someone goes, no, please don't touch me. And absolutely, that's fine. Does it matter for you if the photographer is female or male, or anyone could be a creep? If whatever, you get what I'm saying?
I mean, generally speaking, um,
Because I mean, let's face it, there's a lot of male photographers in the cosplay
yeah.
community than are female. So is it like nice relief when you see a female photographer who wants to work with you?
I mean, I think it's one of those things. I think 'cause I would say there's more male photographers than female person. I don't know if you agree with that.
Mm.
I definitely feel like
That's what I just said. Hopefully, I
yeah,
said, yeah.
there are a lot more male ones.
Mm.
And I mean, I think in general, and I think a lot, like, again, can't speak to everybody, but I think
Of course.
a lot of people, you know, a lot of women, or anyone that identifies as, you know, as a woman, as female,
Yeah.
would feel that. I think a lot of people feel this way, that, like, you know, if somebody compliments you, for example, if somebody was to, you know, if a woman comes over and says, oh my god, I really love your dress,
Mm.
you're like, oh my god, this woman loves my dress. Oh, and it makes you feel, you're like, oh my god, it makes you feel really good. You're like, oh, like, because you know, you just know that they genuinely really loved your dress,
Yeah.
and they wanted to tell you. If a man comes over and says, I really love your dress, you're like, thanks.
Mm.
You know, because you always have that, do they love my dress, or are they trying to hit on me, or are they, you know, I feel a bit weird now. Like, you it does, like, it's a compliment, but you're always a little bit like, oh, thanks.
Yeah.
And because you just never know where it's coming from. Is it actually just because they genuinely looked at your dress and went, that's a really nice dress, I'm going to let her know?
Yeah.
Or is there more to it, kind of thing? Were they objectifying you? Or, you know, like, you don't know. Whereas when it comes from a woman, you tend to just be like, oh my god, she really loved my dress, I feel well good right now. And I think it's the same if a female photographer comes up to you and is like, I really love your cosplay, can I get a picture? That's because they really love your cosplay
Yeah.
and they want to get a picture of it.
Yeah.
If a male photographer comes up to you, again, it's different if you know the person, if you've built up a rapport with somebody. But if you haven't, and they come up to get a picture, you never know, is it because they actually love your cosplay, or is it because of they are looking at you going, oh, like, that's sexy, I'm gonna get a picture of that.
Yeah. And I was going to ask this question, which is probably the appropriate perfect point to ask this now. do you find then? Do you have like a thought in your head that says male photographers are in this part of the community for the wrong reasons, or do you think just any male attendee, regardless of the general public or photographer going to Comic-Con, you're always wary? You're like your creepo meter is always like flipping every so often.
I think it's always on alert a little bit, especially when you're in cosplay.
Yeah, but are you more aware with a photographer then, or with a general public? I think that's the better question to ask. Or if it was just
I would say it's pretty equal.
Even, yeah.
Again, something that I noticed as well. Me personally, don't know if others experience the same or would agree. Again, I personally find, generally speaking, not always, but 90% of the time, kind of thing, that if you are in a sexier, more revealing outfit, a lot more photographers want to take your picture, and it's all male ones.
Yeah.
Versus if you are not in a more revealing, sexy cosplay.
Yeah. And like I will admit this out loud. The first time I met Lele, you were in a latex peach outfit. And I will have to admit that caught my eye. But I was hopefully I was respectful, kept my distance, but just said, look, I'd love to get a picture of you, is this okay? And then and
like, nah, you're a piece of shit.
We've known each other for how long?
Well, that was, like I said, that would have been my first con.
Yeah.
So that was 7 years ago.
Oh, yes.
So, 7 years you've put up with my bullshit.
100%. Jesus Christ.
But like I said, I still remember that con. I met so many people stopped to get pictures. And obviously, like I said, it's not always like again, it's so when I did Belle.
Yes. Yep.
Loads of people stop me then, but it's a massive ball gown. Like whenever you do a big ball gown princess one, loads of people are going to stop you.
No, absolutely, that's good. Yeah.
But generally speaking, I do find that you do get stopped more when you're in a sexy character / revealing character, and it is it's majority male photographers there anyway, and it is male photographers that are stopping you for pictures, and not just photographers, but again, members of the public. I find it's more likely to be males that are stopping you asking for a picture if you are in a sexy, revealing cosplay.
Yeah. I think, the original question I was asking is that, do you think the male photographers are doing the photography for the wrong reason? And I think I was trying to allude to is that you find them a bit creepy because they use the photography thing as something to hide behind for them to be creepy. But it sounds like that's not really the case, which is good to hear.
I don't think, again, some might be. There might be some that are. There might be some creepy ones there that literally just go there to try and scout out the sexy cosplay girls.
Yeah.
That probably does happen. But I know tons of people, yourself included, that do photography there.
Yeah.
And they're massive nerds themselves. And they just love cosplay, and they and so they just want to take pictures of cosplayers.
Yeah. Which is good. Yeah. I want to move this along to your other profession. So let's use the Nando's Perio meter. If you're I literally have a screenshot on my phone right now. So let's say your sexy cosplay you do at Comic-Con is at most lemon and herb. I'm going to assume and I'll leave it to you how much you want to talk about your other profession, I was going to say your hobby. That's not a hobby, but your other content. Safe to say, at least at most a hot, not extra hot, but at most a hot.
Yeah. I wouldn't put it at extra hot. I'd put it as a hot.
Yeah, said at most. It's not. Yeah. I don't know your content. Forgive me for not being a fan of your content of that level, but look, it was. No, I can't say that joke out loud. No, I really cannot say that joke about it. Anyway, it was going to be involved my mother and birth, but we'll leave it at that. Jesus Christ, Ed. Anyway,
Train of thought gone.
Oh no, the train of thought is just going around in circles. It's like the circle line on the underground. I need to get off this. Right, okay. Have you met people who have gone, oh, I know you from your extra spicy content?
Yes.
So that has happened. Okay, good.
Yes.
Does that then change how you then either be approached or approach them? Does that? I hope you understand the question.
Yeah. So it yes and no. So it always throws you a little bit
Mm-hmm.
if it happens. You know, if it does happen, you kind of get that like, oh, they know me from that.
They've seen a lot of
that.
they've seen a lot of you. Yes.
You know.
Yeah.
And you're then, you know, that's then very aware
Mm.
in your brain kind of thing. You know, they
Yeah.
come over and they're like, oh, like, you know, yeah, you know, I subscribe to you on blah 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 blah.
Mm.
You know, can I get a picture with you? And you know, your brain is then like, oh.
Mm.
But again, though, you then have to stop and go, well, actually, you know, again, so long as they're being respectful
Mm.
and stuff, it doesn't make, you know, like it's when you do that kind of work, you have to expect, especially when you go to cons and stuff as well, that you might run into somebody who does, you know, subscribe and who has seen that, you know, that kind of content.
Yeah.
And actually, you know, without my subscribers, without people actually supporting me doing that work, I wouldn't, you know, it wouldn't exist. I wouldn't be able to do it, you know? So I don't have the attitude of like, oh, they're going to be creepy or something. No, like you know, a lot of my subscribers have been there with me for years and they're really nice people and they're, you know, and, you know, they're really, really respectful and stuff. And actually, you know, and I'm really grateful to have them there. So long as they're respectful, you know? And obviously you do get that, like I said, I get that little moment where I'm like, oh, they've seen that. Oh, you get that little moment of, oh, but then I kind of like very quickly like pass that. And I will get a picture with them and I will stop and chat to them and stuff.
Yeah.
Again, same with anybody though, so long as they're, you know, respectful. And actually, I've had a couple of times somebody like recognize me from that side of things. And get a picture with me and stuff, and they've always been absolutely lovely. The times that I've had people being, you know, creepy are people that actually don't know me at all, that have just stopped seeing me and stopped to ask for a picture or something, you know.
I think that's such a weird dynamic that it's the people that don't know you that give you the most creepo mesa.
Because again, this is the thing: people that actually pay to subscribe to that kind of stuff, again, they're, you know, like I said, I wouldn't be able to do what I do without those people. And they're really supportive, and again, they're parting money for it.
Yeah.
So why would they then be a creep and offend you and potentially just have you blocking them or something? You know, actually, the subscribers that I have are really like respectful.
Yeah.
And they're really nice people and they're really kind people and they're lovely people. And they actually do have, you know, I'm quite, you know, I have like, you know, I have a lot of ground rules when it comes to that side of things.
Yeah.
And I don't tolerate anything that I'm not comfortable with. Which means that the people that I do have on there are people who are super respectful and who are just really nice people who support my work. Whereas people that aren't paying, it's the people that actually aren't parting with their money and who have no, you know, that they're actually the people that end up. And it's the same online as well, you know, like I said again, the people that actually part their money and are paying to support you, they're supporting you, and so they're not going to be a dickhead. It's the people that aren't paying that are going to be messaging you and acting like a knobhead.
Yeah.
You know, it's a weird way that it actually works out.
Oh no, absolutely, 100%. And yeah, I get that dynamic and things like that. But again, like anything, there's always going to be a moment where one bad egg will get through doesn't mean the whole batch is bad, type of thing.
I mean, one just came to mind. One of the things that I have as well in terms of like safety things that always like I always like never really know what to actually like answer as.
Yeah.
So when I'm at conventions and things like that, obviously, like I said, I've got my cosplay sort of username and stuff, and I've got another username for my other work
Yeah.
and stuff. And if I'm at a convention, and like a photographer comes over or somebody comes over, and if they was to ask, what's your name, I never know whether I'm supposed to give my real name or give one of my fake names. And it's because of like for security kind of thing,
Oh yeah,
for safety and stuff. I always go a little bit like. Sometimes I will just instinctively will say my real name, and then I go, should I have said that?
Oh, I see.
You know what I mean? Like
when if I ask that question, I don't necessarily expect to hear a real name. I expect them to hear their cosplay handle. But I mean, when they give me their real name, part of me is like, okay, cool. I'm not shocked or anything like that, but I'm like, oh, okay, all right, cool, thanks. Like I said, I don't. So when I do my acknowledgement form, and I probably should make this a little bit clearer. When I write name, I think I'm really after their cosplay handle name or whatever name they want to go by. I don't need to know their actually full name. And like when I do get to see their full name, I'm going, oh, this feels like I have too much power. Ooh. Even if it's just a name, I feel like, oh, that feels weird.
You're like, should I have like a data protection policy in place?
Something like that, yeah.
Because I've got people's names.
But all I've got is their names. I haven't got like where they live or their date of birth or things like that, or their social security number, credit card details, things like that. Anyway, there's two more questions I want to ask. Obviously, the one's about like what advice would you give, but I want to bring up this little story that I saw a couple of weeks ago, and I just want to get your input on this. But obviously, we're not fully known about this. We're not reporting on it and things like that. But a couple of weeks ago at San Diego Comic-Con, it was reported that a human trafficking ring was disbanded or caught by the police at Comic-Con. And those are very rare events. They don't happen every time at a comic. Well, I hope to think, touch wood, hang on, type of thing. I don't know if you heard the knocking, but things, I mean, obviously you don't think about these things. I hope you don't. But like when you hear news like that where human trafficking was like happened at Comic-Con, do you think, oh, that could have happened to me? Things like that.
I mean, I don't think I don't necessarily think like, oh, that could have happened to me because of I don't personally, I don't see a scenario where that would be easy to happen. I felt like, I don't know, but it's crazy to think that could be happening at somewhere like Comic-Con, where they, and obviously it's one of those things where, anyone that's attending the convention, you never know what kind of person they are or what kinds of things, they're doing or have done or whatever.
Yeah.
Because I haven't seen the full story. So obviously the human trafficking was broken up at the convention. I'm assuming that it was just like attendees of the convention, but the human trafficking they were doing, was it in any way related to cosplay and the convention? Or was it?
Yeah, I can't remember the full story.
Yeah.
There was a news report which I'll link in. From what I think I remember, I think they were using it to traffic people through rather than gathering people from it. I could be wrong. Again, I will put the link of the news report I saw in the podcast description. But if it was, let's flip it to say it was to gather people.
Yeah.
I mean that's kidnapping effectively, isn't it? So
yeah. And I think I would be like, personally, like if I had kids, if I had a kid, with conventions and stuff, like obviously, conventions are generally speaking like family friendly events as well, and you get families there, you get kids there, you get teenagers there and stuff.
Yeah.
If I had teenagers, I'm not sure how comfortable I would be with them going around a convention on their own. And not just because of something like I said, like trafficking or something like that, but just like I said, because I'm aware of like how creepy some people can be at these kinds of events, especially if they like wanted to cosplay and things like that. I'm not really sure like at what age I would feel comfortable with them going around on their own or like with a friend or something their own age, because of, if they were like 15, if I had, had like a 15-year-old daughter and she wanted to she wanted to cosplay as Harley Quinn or something like that, I don't think I'd feel comfortable with her doing that at a convention without like me or another adult being around, because of I know what can happen. I know how creepy people can be and stuff, and I think I'd just be quite wary. And especially like I said, it is, if I feel like if something like that, if something as serious as like trafficking or something like that was going to be happening, I feel like it is younger people that they would target. Because they're, someone who's more vulnerable or more naive or, easier to coerce or something. It might be a lot easier for them to sort of say, oh, your cosplay is amazing. I'd really love to get, I'm a photographer. I'd love to get some pictures of it.
Yeah.
Do you want to cut, there's a really good place we can get some photos down here,
Oh God, that's red lights already. Yeah.
Like, and I feel like a younger person, it'd be a lot easier to do that with. And I mean, to be fair, I'm actually guilty of like
Well, hang on.
not of trafficking, of I've been with a photographer and they've gone like, oh, there's a really, like, do you want to go like off site, like over there? But I think because it's only at MCM that I've done that with, and I know all the areas around MCM.
Yeah.
So it's not like I'm going really far away. Like, there's, when you go out the back entrance and there's like, when you go like past Novotel, just to the right, there's like, a little grassy area
Oh,
there
yeah,
and
yeah.
stuff like that, or like, and there's like a little area with some benches down there. They might just sort of say, oh, do you want to go over there where there's less people? I know where that is.
Yeah, it's still
And I
relatively
know,
close
and
to everything.
it's not like if, there's still people around.
Yeah.
So I have gone off site.
But we're not
So
talking
like,
about miles away, the next district.
no,
Yeah.
if somebody was like, oh, do you want to come, and it was somewhere really random, I'd be like, no, you're right.
Yeah.
But like I said, somebody who's, younger or more vulnerable or whatever it may be, might not realize the dangers of that kind of thing.
No,
And that, it is a danger. It is a possibility that somebody could try and, like I said, like lure somebody off site with like,
oh yeah.
the prospect of, oh, I'm a photographer, I'm a professional
Yeah,
photographer, I can get some pictures of you, or something like that.
I tell you something, as a photographer, I do worry that someone uses the guise of a photographer to like take advantage of people, and especially as a male photographer, I do worry that my name will be tarnished by someone else. Like,
Yeah.
I am happily okay with me screwing up my own reputation, but I wouldn't be happy if someone else did it for me. Because like, whoa, I can screw up my own career in my own way. I don't need help from you. Jesus. I said there was one more question, but actually there's another one came in, and I know we're running out of time on the podcast, but I've recently saw some people who have said, and when I mean my safety of Comic-Con, it's not just about from Congos from there, but it could be from friends and partners as well. So I've seen some posts where they've said, I've had to split up from this partner I had, his next, who was very controlling and very this. So and I know that's a very different version of are you safe at a Comic-Con, but I can imagine that type of scenario, that if you had a partner that was very controlling, told you to do this, do that, maybe enacted some essay, even very I hate to say it in this sense, but a very soft form of it, where they maybe force themselves upon you to do things. I can imagine for that moment, for that person, Comic-Con is not safe for them. Do you see what I'm coming from?
I can. I mean, I would say though, that's not Comic-Con that's not safe though. I think any event with
Mm.
somebody like that isn't safe.
Mm.
That's it's no matter what they do or where they go, if they're with that person,
Yeah.
then they're not safe.
Yeah.
But I can definitely I can imagine, if you're a cosplayer, for example,
Mm.
and you was to have a partner who, like I said, was maybe very controlling or blah 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 blah
Yeah.
blah. Obviously, when you cosplay, you get a lot of attention. You get people wanting your picture. You get people coming up to you. Somebody that's very controlling might not like that. Might not be able to handle that.
Mm.
They might not like the fact that you've got so many people coming up to you and commenting on it and asking you for pictures and things. They might get jealous
Yeah.
and things like that. And it might be then later on after the event that they take it out on the person.
Mm.
So
But you're not. So you're definitely not. You're not saying the Comic-Con itself is the issue. It's the
no, that's
person's reaction to aspects of it, which is that could have happened anywhere and anywhere, and it should be.
yeah.
Yeah.
That's my take on that.
No,
Anyway.
which is fine,
Yeah.
which is good, and it's good to clear that up because sometimes I ask this question not because I'm curious, but I don't know the answer, and I want to
Like
hear a
I
different opinion.
I would definitely say for cosplayers, because of, like I said, the attention that you get
Mm.
as a cosplayer of people wanting your picture and people coming up to you and commenting on,
Mm.
it could definitely bring up, if you are there with a partner or something, it could
Yeah.
definitely perhaps bring up sides to them that you may not have seen before or something,
Yeah.
or it could, if they are more controlling, it could definitely bring that out, it could
Mm.
make somebody who isn't used to that or isn't very, uncomfortable and so on, or make them jealous
Yeah.
or,
Yeah.
of the amount of attention that you're getting and things like that.
Mm.
So it's definitely a place where perhaps it could worsen,
Mm.
that kind of behavior.
Yeah.
But it's not necessarily the convention's fault. That it's the person's
Oh yeah, absolutely. Yeah. Yeah.
fault. You know what I mean?
No. No. Absolutely. Absolutely. Yeah. All right. S- Sorry to add that question on to you and things like that. We'll wrap it up, but we'll ask this last question, which is,
I have had one thought as
oh,
well.
go on, go, go, go,
Yeah.
go, go.
Yeah. So my other thought is actually cosplayers themselves
Mm.
within the cosplay community. You get issues with SA, etc.,
Oh, in
etc.
what sense?
Um, you do get issues with things like cosplayers that perhaps have more of a following or more influence
Oh yeah.
might use that influence to on somebody who is younger or more
Oh,
impressionable.
I see. Yeah, yeah, yeah.
Do you know what I mean?
Gotcha now. Yeah, yeah.
You know,
I hate to use the G word of grooming, but that's
yeah.
yeah,
And obviously, like I said, if somebody is, you know, they want lots of followers and they want to be noticed, and
yeah,
then somebody with more followers and stuff
mm,
starts talking to them,
yeah.
and they think, oh, and it can lead to
Oh yeah.
bad things happening, people being taken advantage of, and so on.
I would like to add not just cosplayers, but I would like to say stroke photographers as well, because I think
Oh yeah,
we,
100%.
I think, like I said, both ends, because sometimes I do worry about. I wouldn't say the power I have, but the yeah. Shut up. Let me have something.
Unlimited power.
More power. Um, but the influence I have as a photographer, because we can easily blacklist a cosplayer or a model,
Yeah,
whatever, and it may not be true that we blacklisted someone because it might be so. Well, I never got this attention from it. I never got this from that person, and they never. I hate to say as a scenario, they never put out for me. And it's like, no, you're at Comic-Con. You're there to take photos. That is
yeah,
all you need to do. No more than that. If you want to pursue a healthy relationship that's romantic, there are ways to do that, but don't use your photography or your cosplayer influencing powers
yeah,
to push that agenda. Sorry, carry on.
yeah. But I think there are definitely circumstances of people using their following and their influence and stuff to
Yeah.
take advantage of people.
100%.
Yeah, that definitely is something that happens as
and
well.
I've definitely seen people who put up messages that, oh, I was in this relationship, and there was this and promised that, and we were both compatible at one point, and then it just spiraled out of control, type of thing. So yeah, 100%. I think I agree with you that it's not always a one-way traffic. It can always go the other way, and you're very right. We were saying that not anyone could be a creep. That includes literally anyone.
Yeah,
so yeah,
that includes the cosplayers as well. You can
Yeah.
get cosplayers who actually,
yeah,
will use their standing as a cosplayer
yeah.
to try and take advantage of people and so on.
No, absolutely, 100%. As I said, I want to leave on a fairly positive note, but I don't know if this is a positive note we can leave on. But I mean, look, we are saying 99%, if not 100% of the time, going to Comic-Con is a safe environment. It's safe. It's just but
it's safe. Same, and I think it goes really for anywhere you go. Something, whether it's a convention or something completely different.
Yeah,
it's never 100% safe.
No.
Yeah. But like I said, it's a big event. There's a lot of people. There is security. The events are, I have noticed over the years that they have been improving with, like you said, adding things like on the apps, being able to report directly on the app if something happens, and they are making it more aware, and making the issue of that kind of thing, raising more awareness of it and stuff, and there's a huge sense of community there. And generally speaking, because there is a huge sense of community, if something did happen to you, or someone made you feel uncomfortable, you could probably go up to anybody, any stall holder, any other cosplay, anybody there, and say, if you were on your own, and say, I'm sorry, I don't, I'm sorry to ask you, I don't know what to do, I need help. Someone will help you.
Absolutely. I mean, you can use the phrase, I think I'm being followed, or there's a creepy guy. Can I just pretend to talk to you for like 5 minutes until they disappear? Anyone will obviously say yes to that.
Yeah.
So things like that. And literally, you've just covered the bit I was going to ask us any advice you'd give, but you've covered that. So yeah, thank you very much, Lele, for your time. I'm going to bring it to a close because there's the part B of this podcast, which has nothing to do with this subject. I'm going to bully Lele because she has ruined my life.
I have.
And we're going to talk about a manga, anime, and stage show called Your Lie in April. Now, if you know what we're talking about, please come and listen to it. If you haven't, please come and listen to it anyway. But obviously, it would help if you watch the anime or read the manga. The stage show is a different kettle of fish. We'll explain later. But yeah, that will be the podcast section. But yes, but thank you, Lele, for being on this podcast. Should anyone need to follow you on the social medias for both your sexy content and your Nando's hot spicy content, if you want to publicize that, it's up to you. But where can they find you on the social medias?
So my cosplay is Lele Cosplay. And my Nando's hot is Nayru, Nayru cosplay.
Yep.
Yeah.
And they can find you literally on all the socials.
I'm everywhere, man.
I know you're everywhere. Jesus Christ. God.
You can't get away from me.
I really can't. If anyone needs to find me on the social medias, you go to foodandcosplay.org/links. That's where you find my social media links. If you go to Food and Cosplay generally, foodandcosplay.org generally, you'll find cosplay photos, some articles. Although it's now the summer, so at the moment I'm on it's fairly small hiatus. But if you go to foodandcosplay.org/podcast, you'll find previously recorded podcasts with Lele, other guests, other topics, yada yada yada. And if you go to patreon.com/foodandcosplay, that's where you'll hear me bully Lele. Well, to be fair, she put me in this mess. So we're going to be talking about Your Lie in April. So please come along. I might actually make this as a podcast itself, just copy and paste it sometime in the future, but that shouldn't be an incentive to wait. Please come over to the Patreon to listen. But yeah, on that note, I would like to say goodbye, and Lele would like to say goodbye if you're not coming us to the podcast extra. So anyway, bye guys.
Bye.
Bye.